Good morning, good day to you. How you doing? Um, well, just sitting here and relaxing. Um, this is gonna be kind of a controversial topic. Uh, this is about home ownership, but it's particularly with a certain community, and a certain community is the Black American community. And I'm gonna show you a couple videos, and it's a really eye opener, and really with start out with just one people, and I'm gonna show you some other videos. But it goes to show you that even in times of different communities, that sometimes housing ain't always equal to individuals, even though poverty is an equal thing all the way around. But even in the midst of poverty, when it comes to people, there is a still on equal basis. I'm going to show you here. Let's start with this video.
The Relief Act is now in effect, so hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I have a very, very important message that I want to share, especially with those of you who live in the state of Georgia. Although this particular thing that I'm going to be talking about is not just limited to Georgia, it's happening in other areas as well. But I'm going to tell you all what I think about it after I share some other details with you. Because when you think about the happenings here in America, you're always in the back of your mind thinking about what kind of monkey business is going on, right? And I'm going to be very, very clear on what I'm talking about in just a moment. I do want you all, however, to share this broadcast with others so that others can join in the conversation. Again, this topic I'm going to be sharing with you is kind of tripped out to me. When I listen to the details, it's very upsetting too. I'm just going to keep it real right there. It's very upsetting what I heard as well, because there is some stuff that I'm going to say rich people are allowed to do, or when I say rich people, not just rich people, but even certain groups of people, I'm going to say white folk, that they are allowed to do, and it's really getting to the point where it is starting to be just so in your face. And what they're doing about a lot of this stuff is absolutely nothing at all. And if you dare question why stuff is so easily happening to black people, then they accuse you of all kinds of things. Most of the faces that I saw on this report were so-called black people, and I'm just keeping it real. Folk don't like it, but the truth is what it is. It's a shame that we have to tiptoe around topics because people's feelings get hurt. Right now, this ain't got nothing to do with folks' feelings. It got something to do with the wickedness. Huh? The wickedness that's happening here in America over and over and over again. And people don't realize if you don't repent, you're going to have to stand before the Most High, God of heaven, as the world calls him. You have to stand before him and try to explain all of this mess. You're going to have to explain all of this mess. The problem is people don't fear the Most High, even in the simplest things. When you oppress people, guess what? The Bible got something for that too. If you are oppressing people and you're doing low down, rotten, dirty stuff, don't think for 1 minute that you don't have to answer for that stuff, because you do. Anyway, let me tell y'all what I think after I share with you the details of this story. Take a listen at this, and of course I will be right back.
In the next 60 seconds, I'm going to show you how to earn $75 up to $200 in less than an hour.
At this, and of course, I will be right back.
I only owed them a few dollars.
Nothing brings light to this Ellenwood home quite like Eric Clark.
Paperwork back and forward.
He's been the owner of the DeKalb County property for 20 years.
Okay.
Until now.
He said that he was the new owner.
Littered on the table, documents detailed the dilemma. July 2022, a real estate agent left a letter on Eric's front door stating this property has been foreclosed and purchased by Ace Homes LLC. Called to discuss. Records appear to show he took out a second mortgage loan on the home. He never made payments, forcing it to default, leading to the foreclosure. But Eric never paid it because he says it was not him, claiming the second mortgage loan has his signature forged.
I've never had a second mortgage, just the bottom line. And I'm no fool, I know right from wrong.
Eric filed multiple DeKalb County police reports alleging this is fraud. The 56-year-old described to police, quote, fake documents to steal his house, citing the realtor Mehboob Omar wrongfully has the deed to his home.
Well, I've been stressed out. I had to speak to a psychiatrist. I was just lost in the shuffle.
Right now in DeKalb State Court, he's in a legal fight. It's not his only battle.
When your man falls.
Kidney failure. Due to a bad bout of COVID, Eric requires dialysis 3 times a week.
But I mean, it beats dying, so anything beats dying.
A DeKalb County judge issued this in the sick father's case. Claim of wrongful foreclosure is not a defense to dispossessory proceeding, meaning even if Eric believes there was fraud, if he does not pay the rent to the new homeowner, they have the right to evict him while he's fighting a civil case. The retiree is not alone.
My house literally was stolen.
Fair housing advocate John Fisher told Atlanta City Council in a September 5th meeting he's uncertain how, but someone wrongfully obtained the deed to his home too, saying there are hundreds of similar but unrelated cases, all a part of a pattern.
The issue is out of control.
Across the metro.
They are creating documents that do not exist in the form of foreclosure deed or a power of the deed in the process without any proof.
Do you feel helpless in those kind of situations?
We really do.
Douglas County Clerk of Superior and State Court, Annetta Danley Stembridge.
Our hands are really tied.
Under current Georgia law, clerks like Stembridge cannot require IDs from people when they come into the clerk's office to file deeds, liens, or any other type of property paperwork.
We cannot question what people file.
So it's the honor system. Simply put, anyone can file documents on your home as long as the paper appears to be legitimate and filled out.
We have to accept it.
Steinbridge recalls times families show up to the office only to learn their home is no longer theirs.
It is a horrible feeling, and just to see, the looks on their faces, and like that's that whole family's inheritance, gone down the drain.
It's why some Georgia clerks want state law to change, require identification, and file any property paperwork.
You use it to get the legit sort of documents under fictitious identity.
However, even mandating IDs cannot be the only solution.
We're talking about fake driver licenses, we're talking about fake birth certificates, fake social security cards, utility bills.
Georgia State cybersecurity expert Dr. David Mammon
This California driver license
gave us a virtual tour of the dark web. The quality of fraudulent documents is so high, Mammon explains about 98% of the time, alleged scammers get away with producing, selling, buying, and submitting false records.
The very sophisticated supply chains, it's fairly easy to do.
The effects are hard for the once homeowners turned tenants, like Eric Clark, who must now pay $2,409 in rent or leave his 20-year residence.
It's painful and it's embarrassing more than anything to go out here to be my age and have to try to start over. That's painful.
Do you want to discover how I got over 1 million subscribers on YouTube without showing my face, without getting in front of a camera?
Okay, everybody. Okay. So let me break this down. I'm gonna show y'all something else real quick first before I get into this. So y'all see how folk are stealing properties right out from under other people, right? I want to show y'all something real quick here. Let me show you something. Before going any deeper into this, I want you all to, not that one, hold on 1 second. Not trying to replay the video, but I want to show you this here. Okay, so right here, I want you all to check out this video. It's on Atlanta News First. They give you a lot more information and details about what's happening down in Georgia. This is also happening in other states as well, but this particular channel, Atlanta News First, deed theft is common in Georgia. Okay, so I want y'all to take a look at that. They're going to give you some more details than what I shared here today. Now, let me get into what my thoughts are. Let me get into what my thoughts are, and hopefully it'll make sense to y'all. But in looking at their video, they're going to explain how some people actually go into the office because they know the laws. When they try to record these deeds, some of the clerks are frightened because the people are like, I know my rights. I know my rights, and you can't make me show an ID. And that right there made me think a little bit. Now, if this were the actual homeowner, why would the actual homeowner say, I know my rights? You can't make me show my ID. Knowing that this mess is happening, the actual homeowner would be happy. Hey, here's my ID. That's right, Mr. Lawrence. That's a big red flag right there. But they can't do anything about it. They even went on to say some of them are get threatened for even trying to challenge someone, right? Why on earth would the state make such a law? That is a big red flag. Why would you challenge being asked to show your ID? Why would you say, I know my rights? Why? Because you might be the cotton-picking person trying to steal the property in the first place. That's why. Now notice how a lot of the people that are featured in these stories are melanated, black folk. Their homes are the ones being taken. That's right. Greta says this is very problematic because we have to show ID for everything else. It almost seems like there is a way that they're making for folk to just take your property out from under you. Now, the other thing that I wanted to bring out, or should I say one of the other things, now some of these people are saying that second mortgages are being taken out on their homes. Like this guy, he said he didn't even take out a second mortgage. Now, what I wanted to point out is this. When getting any type of loan these days, they make you jump through all kinds of hoops when you are melanated. Jump through this hoop and that hoop and this hoop and that hoop. You gotta jump so high into the sky just to get the loan, even with A1 credit. But yet these people are getting loans on a property that easily. Here's the other thing. Don't you have to get an appraisal done? So I know how it was when we had to get appraisals and things like that. They had to come in, look at the house, look around. Read between the lines of what I'm saying here, y'all. They have to come inside the house, look around, do appraisals, not just a drive-by, but come in and physically examine the house. Huh? So how are people getting these loans with none of that? How are you getting these loans with all of these answers, these questions unanswered? Huh? Now, here's the other thing. So they're giving folk loans on properties where nothing is proven. It makes me wonder if there's a system all working together to yank your property out from under you. How do we know that everybody isn't working in on it together? The banks? Because with the rest of us, somebody got to come in and look at the house. Trivia C says must be some serious Karening going on. Exactly. Because you got folks getting loans on houses that appraisals haven't even been done on. And it made me think about this too. Well, Renee, you said you got a loan without an appraisal. Was it a big loan? And if I can ask your racial identity, I'm just curious, Renee, if you could tell me that. You said you got a loan. Was it a real estate loan? I'm just curious. These are the things that we need because everybody I know have to jump through hoops. And Renee, I can't. You don't have an image, so I don't know because that was the other point I was going to make. I remember there was this white guy when we were living in Michigan. We went to go buy a van. And he said that he was talking to us about signature loans, and he says he can get a signature loan without any type of collateral or anything. He says they actually offered me $100,000 just based on my signature alone. Nothing else. Nothing else. So if you don't mind telling us, Renee. Okay, it's an estate loan, and you're okay. Was it a lot? I'm just curious. Was it over 10,000? I'm just curious because most people can't get any type of loan on their property from a mortgage company without an appraisal. And so that must be in some states because everywhere that we've had a loan, we had to have some type of appraisal done on the property. And this is a real estate loan. Now, I'm not sure. We've never had a second loan or anything. So I'm not sure if that's a line of credit or what. But if it's a real estate loan, I know that we had to have some type of appraisal done on the property. And then, of course, I'm pretty sure you probably had a lot of equity in there if it was a second loan that you were getting. But here's the other point I wanted to make. If a person can just go and get a loan and no one has to come and look at the house, it really makes me wonder. What is really going on with that bank. Is there some type of, I don't know what's going on with that. Is it a scam going on? Because when you have another person who can just take your property and file a deed and say that it's theirs, and they have more rights than you, something sounds fishy about that. Very, very fishy. Angela says her sister bought a house last year and had to have an appraisal done. That's the experience that most of us have, where somebody got to lay their eyes on the property. I don't know of any situation where a person was just able to say, hey, I need a loan, and no one comes to look at the property and determine its value. I don't know of any situation like that. But here's the issue that I'm saying. A lot of these people who are losing their homes are melanated people. And then there is a company that comes and says, look, you got to get out of the house. I own this house now. That's strange to me. Who are these companies? How were they made aware that there was some type of defaulted loan on your property and you didn't even know about the loan? Is there some type of network where they establish where certain eyes could see this ahead of time? And why is it that in Georgia you can't even ask a person for an ID and they can just come and file some type of claim, some type of deed on your property? That sounds like some systematic theft to me. That's exactly what it sounds like. Systematic theft. People taking advantage of the laws. Hannah says, yes.
But you think that was something. But this has a history of it in America. Watch this.
Are you struggling to start or scale your Kindle Direct publishing business? Then you
This
don't want to
goes
miss my
back
live
centuries.
webinar this
Have you wondered why black people living in white people's nations are often poor? Black people can never become rich if they are living in a white people's nation. Before you react to this, let us tell you how. The system is designed in a way that won't let you get rich. Only a few people could escape the matrix, but most would remain in the cycle of poverty. But this is not something that has started happening in recent years. It has been happening for centuries. White people never missed a chance to steal black people's money and to keep them poor. They did everything. But will this ever end? Let's find out.
The Black History Archives.
The history of black people in the United States is a story written with resilience, struggle, and triumph. From the harrowing journey of capture and enslavement to the liberating echoes of the Emancipation Act, the black community has weathered storms that would break the spirit of many. However, despite overcoming tremendous odds, the echoes of discrimination, inequality, and deliberate savagery persist through the generations. Apart from all other things, what made the black community weak back in time was the efforts never to let them grow rich, and some parts of this effort persist. But how did white people manage to keep black people poor? In the wake of freedom from slavery, hope soared high for African Americans, envisioning a life unshackled from oppression. However, the post-emancipation era witnessed the rise of Jim Crow laws and segregation, ending the promise of liberty. This ominous shadow transformed the ideal of equality into a daunting challenge for black Americans. The aftermath of emancipation brought forth a harsh reality: the persistence of the black-white wealth gap. Despite the chains of slavery being shattered, economic bonds continued to bind the aspirations of African Americans. The road to financial stability and prosperity proved to be a brutal battle, with systemic barriers blocking the path to economic empowerment. Basic needs, fundamental for a dignified life, became a battleground for black Americans striving to secure their place in society. Access to quality education, a cornerstone for progress, faced obstacles rooted in discriminatory practices. The promise of equal opportunities was crushed under the weight of prejudice, leaving many African Americans fighting with limited access to resources that could uplift their communities. Housing, a symbol of stability and progress, became a place where discrimination persisted. Segregation confined black families to neighborhoods marked by neglect and inadequate resources. The dream of home ownership, a real manifestation of freedom, was often obstructed by discriminatory lending practices, continuing the cycle of inequality. How did leaders play their part in this? How many times have they failed to help even when they could? Here's a reminder to please support us so we can make more videos for you by subscribing to our channel and giving the video a like. We want to build a strong community and we need your support. Let's continue now. Throughout history, the United States encountered key moments that could have served as opportunities to rectify the profound wrongs of slavery through reparations. One such crucial moment unfolded after the Civil War when General Sherman took a significant step by signing Field Order 15. This groundbreaking order aimed to allocate 400,000 acres of confiscated Confederate land to black families, envisioning a path toward economic empowerment. However, the promise of reparations was tragically quashed when President Andrew Johnson reversed this order, reinstating the land to former slave owners and perpetuating a cycle of disempowerment for black individuals. General Sherman's Field Order 15 marked a cheerful moment at that time, recognizing the need for tangible reparations to redress the historical wrongs inflicted upon black communities. The allocation of land was not merely a symbolic gesture, but a substantive attempt to provide black families with the means to build a foundation for economic independence and prosperity.
Spot is your modern solution to top-ranked pet insurance in America, with benefits like up to 90% cash back.
However, this moment of promise was short-lived, independence and prosperity. However, this moment of promise was short-lived because of President Andrew Johnson's actions, which betrayed the aspirations of equality and reparations. What policies were made that ignored the black people. The GI Bill and Social Security, pivotal components of the New Deal legislation, were intended to be cornerstones of social and economic reform. However, these policies fell short of addressing racial wrongs, and instead, they inadvertently perpetuated and exacerbated systemic injustices. Racial housing covenants and redlining emerged as barriers that prevented black Americans from fully getting the benefits of these federal programs, hindering their opportunities to build wealth and perpetuating the racial wealth gap. The GI Bill, a landmark legislation designed to provide returning veterans with educational opportunities, home loans, and other benefits, was intended to catalyze post-war prosperity. However, the promise of equal access was marred by the reality of racial discrimination. Racial housing covenants, which were contractual agreements restricting the sale of property to specific racial or ethnic groups, limited the housing options available to black veterans. This discriminatory practice effectively excluded them from utilizing the homeownership benefits offered by the GI Bill, hindering their ability to accumulate intergenerational wealth. Similarly, redlining, a discriminatory practice by which certain neighborhoods were marked as high risk for investment based on the racial composition of their residents, further marginalized black Americans seeking to benefit from federal programs. The consequences of redlining were far-reaching, as it restricted access to loans and financial resources, particularly for black families residing in these designated areas. This discriminatory practice effectively nullified the economic empowerment the GI Bill sought to provide. And does this still exist in the present day? The struggle for wealth accumulation among black Americans is not merely a historical artifact. It is an ongoing battle against systemic biases. Job opportunities, though seemingly abundant, often come with the baggage of racial discrimination. The wage gap persists, with black individuals earning less than their white counterparts for the same work. This economic disparity contributes to the widening chasm in wealth, hindering the realization of true freedom for African Americans. The promise of freedom post-emancipation also encountered challenges in the criminal justice system. The disproportionate targeting and detention of black individuals perpetuated a cycle of weakness. The impact of mass detention on black communities persists through generations, undermining the promise of a society where justice is blind and equal for all. Healthcare, a fundamental right, became another arena where the promise of freedom faced contamination. African Americans, burdened by historical injustices, encountered disparities in healthcare access and quality. The systemic neglect of black health concerns further compounded the challenges faced by the community in achieving holistic well-being. And what is the reality of black land ownership today? The shocking reality of black land ownership today grows as a stark narrative of loss and dispossession. In the 20th century, African Americans proudly owned at least 14 million acres of land. Fast forward to the 21st century, and a staggering 90% of this land has been brutally stripped away from them. The current landscape reveals that African Americans now possess a mere fraction, a mere 1.1 million acres of farmland. The methods employed to perpetrate this systematic land theft are as insidious as the scale of the loss. Here's property, tax sales, and the implementation of the Torrance Act stand as sinister tools in this grand scheme to dispossess black individuals of their rightful land. These methods, seemingly bureaucratic on the surface, have devastating consequences, leaving an indelible mark on the landscape of black land ownership. Here's property, a seemingly innocuous legal term, has become a means of fracturing and diluting black land ownership. The complexities of inheritance laws often result in shared ownership among family members, opening the door for external forces to exploit these divisions. Corrupt leaders exploit legal loopholes, leading to the forced sale of land, further diminishing the already dwindling black-owned acreage.
Nothing is stopping him from making America great again. He's doing it by sending out a free 16K to
already dwindling black-owned acreage. Tax sales, clearly a mechanism to ensure revenue for local governments, have converted into a tool of dispossession disproportionately affecting African American landowners. Property tax regulations often trap vulnerable landowners, pushing them into a cycle of debt and eventual loss of their cherished land. What begins as a financial struggle transforms into a devastating loss, contributing to the alarming decline in black land ownership. The Torrance Act, introduced with the purported intention of simplifying land transactions, has, in reality, exacerbated the crisis of black land and ownership. This act, praised for its efficiency, creates an environment where the true owners of the land are concealed. The lack of transparency becomes a breeding ground for exploitation, with corrupt entities manipulating the system to turn control away from African American landowners. The impact of this calculated land dispossession extends far beyond the numbers. It strikes at the heart of economic empowerment within the black community. Now comes another aspect where efforts are made to keep black people poor. The job market, a pivotal place for wealth building, poses distinctive challenges for black individuals, particularly those with names that resonate with their racial identity. Studies highlight a disheartening reality. Applicants with black-sounding names experience a staggering 10% fewer callbacks across the board. Discrimination within the employment application process emerges as a formidable barrier, casting a shadow over the wealth-building aspirations of black individuals. The difference in callback rates based on the perceived ethnicity of names exposes an underlying bias that affects the job market. Black individuals, even before they step into an interview room, confront a biasedness that disadvantages them from the outset. The weight of discrimination in the initial stages of job application creates a pervasive obstacle, hindering their ability to secure meaningful employment opportunities. The job market, meant to be a platform for meritocracy, caves to biases that damage the principles of equal opportunity. Black individuals find themselves caught in a cycle where their names become a hindrance to accessing the same opportunities afforded to their counterparts with ethnically neutral names. This discriminatory practice not only affects individuals but has broader implications for the collective economic well-being of the black community. Denied equal access to employment opportunities, black individuals encounter barriers to career advancement and financial stability. The repercussions are felt in the persistent wage gap and limited avenues for upward mobility, reinforcing a cycle of economic disadvantage. Do you think the black people can ever be rich? How do you think it will be possible to end this? Should this...
Hey, before you watch this video, what if I were to tell you that you can use YouTube with videos like you're watching right...
America is not a racist country.
Politicians in the United States tell this lie with a straight face. Then they'll go back and say, well, yeah, I experienced racism, or yeah, we know we've got to do something about systemic racism. And then they go on and talk about the racist experiences that they have had in America. But still, they'll stand up with a straight face and say, America is not. And in the case of Nikki Haley, she said it has never been a racist country. Well, there are those of us who would beg to differ with this statement. We black Americans, descendants of slavery, have seen the worst of it and have been through the worst of it. So we can stand toe-to-toe with anybody and say, you just told a lie. But here's a survey from U.S. News and World Report, and it says United States among 10 worst countries for racial equality. The world sees the United States and its neighbor to the north, which is Canada, on opposite ends of a ranking over racial equality according to the Best Countries report. I never heard of that before, but let's see what they have to say. The United States finished among the bottom 10 countries for racial equality in the 2021 Best Countries report, a collection of new rankings and analyses that reflects how countries have elevated the importance of addressing racial inequalities. So apparently, America hasn't done the greatest job. The racial equality ranking for countries was developed using the racial equity score a country received and connecting it to the more than 17,000 survey respondents in the Best Countries survey who agreed moderately or strongly to the statement that a country is stronger when it is more racially and ethnically diverse. The Netherlands France, Canada, and New Zealand are seen as the top 3 countries, respectively, for racial equality. Not according to those black people in Canada. They said that place is racist too. Of the 78 countries assessed in the 2021 Best Countries Report, the United States ranked 69th or the 10th worst for racial equality, finishing lower than China. Well, China doesn't have any racial diversity. A country the international community has condemned and has imposed sanctions over its treatment of its Muslim Uyghur population. In November 2020, the FBI announced that hate crimes in the United States had risen to its highest level in more than a decade. A poll released in October 2020 by the nonpartisan Pew Research Center showed Americans are about evenly split over whether the increased focus on race and racial inequality will lead to major policy changes that address racial inequities. The same study showed a far greater proportion of black respondents said that they have been paying more attention to issues of race and racial inequalities than white respondents. Well, that shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. We're more affected by racial inequities than white people are. So the 10 worst countries for racial equality, starting at the bottom: the United States, Ukraine, Israel, Myanmar, Slovakia, United Arab Emirates, Sri Lanka, Saudi Arabia, Serbia, and Qatar. So these are the 10 worst countries for racial equality in the world. They don't treat people right based on race. And we would be shocked if the USA wasn't on this list. America apparently is still trying to perfect its union, but we have been victims of racial inequalities since our family members touched down on the shores of this hemisphere. So I'm going to leave you with some of the instances of racial inequalities against black Americans.
Okay, wait a second. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to tell you something that's going to blow your mind.
Black Americans.
Okay. I want to enter it right here. The proof is right there. And do you notice on her video, on the last video, all those countries are in a war right now, and loss and devastation and destructions is in Ukraine, and war is hitting on those other continents of Israel, and displacing Palestinians and different things, and more countries is coming to war against Israel, the land of Israel right now. And since that's another country that's under judgment, and then the United Arabs, Arab and the other places are getting attacked by the Houthis that's in Yemen. Did they know about that? And all these places that what she put on the list is under judgment, and many more. Italy's gonna be under judgment. One day Morocco's gonna be under judgment. All the injustices that you've done to the people, based on that's just one of the many things. One of the many things. And that's why I said the debt can never be repaid. And people think that it's gonna be in America, particularly when it comes in over here. All what they see over here is gonna land over here. 9/11 is just a piece of it. It's been prophesied what's going to happen to America, because she's made enemies all around the world. She made enemies with Russia. She made enemies with China. She's made enemies with North Korea. She's made enemies with some parts of the Middle East, and really particularly, and they are military going to get together and they're going to jump on the United States. And it's going to be war in this country, just like you see in Israel. It's going to be war like you see in Ukraine. It's going to be war like it is. Because the thing that we sold and we see in the miscalculation and the misjustice, it has been done in this land. It's coming. And a lot of people don't want to understand this. What you see on the news and what you see with the protesting and stuff like that, there's lies being allocated in innocent lives. And even though that's different, the demographic of people that are paying the cost, but the pain is going around. You got countries lined up against Israel right now, not just Lebanon, not just for example, Lebanon, Iran, Syria. You got these and other nations, and you got Algeria. You got other ones that want to come at Israel because of what Netanyahu wants to push, that neo colonialism mindset, and keep pushing out people and not honoring the deed over even among the Palestinian people. What you do in this earth, and say which is gonna cause more conflict and more things that come at the people, that's gonna put his people in danger. And it's unfortunately it's a matter of time. And just like it is over in Ukraine, when black people and Africans are going off over there, and they wanted to be discriminatory. But do you know the more time that the Ukrainians are being more discriminatory, they're getting wiped out as we speak, and they can't put two and two together. And they would pick some of our people were over there trying to help out and be doctors and stuff, but the Ukrainians didn't. Some of them didn't want to receive us. And you see, war came to their country, right? Look at where we've been, which you mistreated people, and look what happened. It's war every time there's a war. Look at all those nations that she mentioned on the list, and them the ones that she mentioned. There's other ones, and that everybody, they can't put two and two together, brothers and sisters. That when they mistreat us, it comes right back on them fivefold. Whatever they do in the dark, it comes back open to the light. Whatever they do, and he said, we got this, we gonna do this. And continually, the tally of what they do to us in America as a people is gonna tally up. It's gonna be civil war here pretty soon. It's gonna be stuff, and why you have Tim Scott saying there's no racism. Oh, he gonna see. It's gonna be more than just racism. going to be a little civil war again because within our government, because what's going on with the border. Look what's happening. It's right there before your eyes. And people still would deny that we're not going back and it's robbing, raping, stealing, manipulating, all these things and trying to be jealous and envious is coming. And the ones who are the people who are racist is coming to your door. It's coming one way or the other to your door. And the very people who are racist against black people, I said they're gonna go into captivity. Because these nations is gonna come against America, and some people are gonna be taken to captivity for what they've done to us and certain groups here in America. Which you put in the universe is coming back. God haven't forgotten. He haven't forgotten. And you're still trying to weed it, take it out of history. You can be like a Nikki Haley and deny it, or Ron DeSantis and make laws against it. But judgment is coming, and every one of these people who did this stuff against our people, known as Richard Schwammer, he gonna see it. All these people gonna see it. You're gonna see what's coming. You're gonna see it, and I might have to lose some subscribers, but the truth is the truth. The truth is the truth. It's coming to America. Look how it's coming to the nations. Israel didn't think they was going to get attacked like this. Ukraine didn't probably think they was going to get attacked like this. They kept doing what they kept on doing. Look at them other countries that even they was hitting the oil fields of the United Arabs, because it was just there's different groups that's touch off area. That's all connected, and all connected with the judgment of what they've done, of the many judgments, and that's just one of the things of slavery and everything, and child justice. China's going to go through some things too, even though it's military power, but it's even suffering. It's economically, it's suffering. You can't do evil and run an empire in the earth and do what you do and think you got that the Most High God to put the heaven in the earth, put the heavens over the earth and throughout the universe, and think you're going to pray that your blessing going to go through. Your judgment is tallying up against you. And with China, like America, like any place in the world, you're under judgment. Keep doing what you're doing, because it's going to come back on you. And it's going, and the reality of it is, people don't want to hear, but yeah, we're going to probably going to see nuclear war, because our arrogantness, our self-centeredness, our envious, our jealousy, everything, and our prejudice. We're going to see it. America going to see, like all the other nations. It's coming. This could, who knows? Because people keep saying it, and you can see the war is taking place. This war, it ain't gonna be no peace. It ain't gonna be no peace, because there never was no true justice for the people that continually suffer. That's why it's not gonna be no peace. And the only one that can bring peace to the earth is the ones who put us in our mother's womb. But other than that, I don't see it coming anytime soon. We're gonna be chaos. You're gonna find out when war hit this area. You're gonna find out how your family, your friends, and everybody, how people gonna act. You're gonna people's true nature gonna show. What we see on it, we take for granted, because we are the hand of God is probably within His people, but over a nation, man. We took laws out of school. We define, basically, America just she stuck her fist up and say that we're gonna do what we're gonna keep sinning and doing what we're gonna do, and you just and basically tell the God of heaven and universe it's gonna go our way, just like other nations. And so the God of heaven and earth, He gonna answer. Oh, so you gonna be like that? Oh, the judgment's coming, and that's why He's telling His people in the United States, get your life right and come to Christ. That's why. Now you see, this is based on this is just one of the beginning, but This is it goes out injustices, and some people ain't gonna like this video. I don't care. This is coming. You see the system with how it's set up, and people going to pay for this. Mark my word. So I've mentioned in past videos about stuff like this. Racism transforms from the past to the present, and they still trying to weave it. And then you have people like Kamala Harris and Nikki Haley, Tim Scott, and other people. Oh, because they get into a certain party. They're going to see it. But it's like, oh, be racist to those people over there. Don't be racist to us. You don't understand America. And many people come with that mindset. You don't understand. I've asked a certain percentage of Americans the way they think. Race is a spirit over this nation. It's a spirit among people. It's a spirit of high and low. It started in the schools, teaching the WASP, the Aryan teaching, and go from there. It started with all this stuff like that. Some people teach this stuff. Some people taught people, or they teach this in their own home. So they try to conserve it, but it comes out in different ways. It comes out in systems. Oh, you didn't see that. You're just making things up. Proof right there. What else can I say? The proof is right there. And some people are going to get offended. But you know what? It is what it is. And this country's going to pay for what she keep doing to the certain demographic of people. And the sins of this nation against other things. So rap, people, get your life right with Christ. Because America ain't never going to be equal. They ain't going to do the right thing. Because she's too wicked. She's too deceptive. She's too conniving. And it's in both parties. Don't matter if it's Democrat or Republican. Now you see, because they know about the stats. They know this. There are parties that know this. People in the Democrats that know it. People in the Republicans that know it. And other people that know this. They know this stuff like that. And they still don't care. And they still gonna push the agenda. But it's gonna backfire. So just give you some idea of what to vote for when it comes to election. If you're black and you're watching this video, think about what the Republican and the Democrats. It doesn't matter. They're two wings on the same bird. They're two wings on the same bird. They play the good guy, they play the bad guy. But in the end, it's all about I got my money. I look like you, but I even though they're a sellout. But hey, as long as I can kiss up to the master, I don't care about you. Same spirit that was on the plantation. That's what it comes down to. The past, you see it in the present. You see it come through the generations of time. Let the past be the past. How can you let the past be the past when you see the same spirit that's coming in the present? Because there was some Sambos back then that was okay for black people being slavery. There are some black people that agree with white people. Yeah, and they still live to this day. And you see it. They know about this. Now they're going to be consequences too. So remember when you heard from. All right then, take care. Be blessed till next time. See you on the next video.